If you're like me, you've probably been eyeballing Pokemon ROM hacks for years, but never got around to checking one out. So when I dove into Pokemon Infinite Fusion, I didn't really know what to expect. I knew there were fusions, and I knew there was something crazy like 250,000 plus different fusion combinations in the game. Hell, I still don't know if this includes the reverse fusions or not, but what can I say? This game is significantly more than what it seems to be on the surface. So let's dive into my first playthrough of Pokemon Infinite Fusion to see what all the hype is about. I booted up the game and randomized everything, which as a noob to this kind of stuff was super easy with the in-game randomizer system. No need to download third-party software to randomize your experience, it's all built into the game. The game opens up talking about a new product by Silph Co, a product that allows you to fuse multiple different Pokemon, and like I said during the intro, there's over 250,000 Pokemon fusion combinations available in this mod, which is absolutely insane. Now when you enter the game, it looks like essentially a remaster or remake of Gen 1 Kanto, and at the core, that is entirely what this mod is. I went in expecting there to be just a traditional Pokemon mod. It's gonna be a Pokemon game, we're gonna fuse some stuff, and I could not have been more incorrect. I named my character Stupid, and my rival Billy Blue Balls will feel my wrath. I went through the motions that happen in a normal Gen 1 Pokemon game, got brought to Professor Oak's lab, was able to pick up a Pokemon. Now, in the normal Infinite Fusion, you get your traditional 3 starters, Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle. But because this is a randomizer, our options are a little different here. We have fused Pokemon to choose from. Jumpcrow, a fusion of Jumpluff and Honchkrow. Fraxpot, a fusion of Fracture and Hakamo-O. And Musean, a mix between a Persian and a Muck. Now I went with Musean because I thought it looked the coolest, as any Pokemon fan would, and my Musean went up against my rival's choice, Jumpcrow. And now if I'm not mistaken here, in the non-randomized version, your rival actually fuses the two you don't choose, which I think is a really nice touch to introduce you to the world. During this battle, Jumpcrow just pretty much healed and absorbed repeatedly over and over and over and over and over again. But Musean's poison and attack power finally managed to take him down. And this is also when I realized we are getting a lot of experience points. And as you may or may not know, I've done a few Nuzlockes here on the channel, and I cannot imagine having to do this mod as a Nuzlocke if I had to abide by level caps. It honestly sounds like hell. The first Pokemon battle I went up against after our rival was a Slugron, a fusion between Slugma and Aggron. I beat it easy, destroyed this Yonko, not those Yonkos, and I made it to Vermilion City. The guy at the Pokemon Mart hooked me up with the parcel, but this time they threw in some DNA splicers so we can finally get to splicing. My first caught fusion was Mabull, a fusion between Machoke and Granbull, and I learned that I could switch the sprites. And with this JoJo's looking ass sprite, I of course went with the sprite made by Cyprex. Now this is from my understanding the artist within the Infinite Fusion community who made this specific sprite, as this is a massive and ongoing fan created mod. Now not every Pokemon Fusion is going to have a multitude of sprites, but some definitely have a lot. I caught this Kabucrow so I could snag the Kabutops and Murkrow that it fused with, and I unfused them right away. I was given a Cabuolet from this random guy at the Pokemart in Vermilion City, and I loaded up on DNA splicers. Already within Vermilion City, you can truly see how much love went into this mod. I mean, they did a fantastic job of keeping it the same, but adding these little additional details that really make the world feel not only different and unique, but more fleshed out as a whole. I mean, we have little additional mountain paths, just little tiny areas that you would expect to be there if, you know, we were to flesh out the town a little bit more in this sprite type style. Now, it didn't take long for me to get a little locked up because a La'ai showed up, which is a combination of a Latios and a Sableye, and I needed it so freaking bad. I had 10 Pokeballs, a Premier Ball, I had the La'ai poisoned, and I just started throwing balls, but I killed it before I could catch it. But I was determined. I found another one, I used every last Pokeball I had. Nothing. Now this is because the catch rate of both of these Pokemon is extremely low. To be specific, 0.4% using a Pokeball, according to Google, which is kind of insane. I took on my rival Billy Blue Balls, bent over his weird Blaziken Blossom creature. I don't even really know what to call it other than a creature because it's horrible. I murdered it, and his Jumpcrow was next. The Jumpcrow was just taunting me throughout this entire fight, healing and weakening my defense over and over and over and over again. time, but for some reason, it just never attacked. It spammed Splash, which I think it replaced its Absorb attack from the first battle with Splash for some odd reason.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Now, things got a little dicey, but my Cabuolette managed to take down a Jump Crow that was double his level somehow. And that Pokemon leveled all the way up from level 4 to level 9 from that one battle. So like I said, a Nuzlocke with level caps would probably be hell. I sold the rare bones and dawn stones I found around the area, bought a bunch more balls to try and catch the eye yet again. I had 21 balls and a dream. So I poisoned it and I started throwing. I failed again. I bought more Pokeballs and headed north with the intent to come back for the eye when I had higher quality balls.
Giggity, 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 ooh, ee, ooh, ting, tang, walla, walla, bing, bang.
I caught a Palotump first, followed by a Grave Mise, or what I like to call him, the Sea Creeper. And the trainers in the forest here had some insane Pokemon, like this Polither, Arcbat, Typhrill, but the best thing I was able to find was this Dio Bish, and I needed it. Unfortunately, I failed again. Elitizian was also a really cool fusion I ran into, and once I made it to Pewter City, this is when I learned this game has side quests. There's a hotel that you can stay the night in, get your haircut in, and find a variety of people willing to give you the side quests, as well as one of Professor Oak's homies. He gives you a quest journal and rewards you for every few side quests you complete. And this is where we need to talk. This is both a blessing and a curse for this run. When I went up to the very first room within the hotel inside of Pewter City, of course I had to check the trash cans. I mean, who doesn't check the trash cans, especially during a randomizer? Hell, you sometimes get some really rare hidden items. Now, because of the randomizer, I can't really tell you for sure if this item is supposed to be in this trash can or if it's something you find later on. But I got this cardboard box, and this is where I learned that we could customize our characters' outfits and hats. Now, the problem here is the cardboard box is single-handedly the best item in the entire game, bar none. Now, you're gonna see me wearing this box for the rest of the playthrough. There are some adjustments I will be able to do, and clothing will change throughout, but this box right here is the greatest hat in the game, bar none. And every game needs to add a box like this for character customization. I'm just gonna say it. Jesus Christ, Pokemon, give me a cardboard box. I snagged all 3 side quests from all 3 of the Pokemon trainers within the hotel, and I don't really know why all of them were in one room, and this seems to be the case across all the hotels. 3 seems to be about the max you get per hotel, and there's generally 3 rooms, but for some reason the side quest people are always just slammed into the corner room for some reason. And these side quests, they range from a variety of different types, anywhere from giving or trading a specific type of Pokemon to giving items that you would find on the floor. Sometimes when you start a side quest, it will actually activate an item that wasn't there before that you can now find. As an example, I didn't have any tiny mushrooms in the forest when I was there the first time, but once I activated the side quest, then they appeared. Another example of the side quest was I had to find a revive near some benches within the city. It's a lot of really cool, just fun little, hey, find these things as you go around the world and we'll reward you and give you some stuff. So go do a bunch of them. Also, holy crap, can we just talk about the redesign for Pewter City? It is just so good. And again, if I wanted a remake for Gen 1 and I wanted it in this old school style, this is pretty much to a T what I would ask for. There's also a ton of little references. As you can see, we found Ash and Pikachu here with a side quest, find Pikachu's hat, which then gives you, well, the hat. There's also a ton of hats within the store, and as you can see here, you could put 2 hats on to combine them and kind of make your own fun little customization hat. And a lot of them don't work together, but some of them do. Now, I didn't realize this was possible until way later in the game, but it's just a really cool addition that allows a ton of customization if that's what you're looking for. But we had to go with the summer dress. I mean, come on. There's also this hiker that seems to show up at every town, and once you get the gym badge for that city, he gives you a flute specifically for it. In this case, I was given a flute that allows me to reduce random encounter rate, which is really cool. So keep your eye out if you're playing this for other flutes. After running around and geeking out about the side quests and the character customization, I finally decided to take on the Pewter City gym. I also spent some time fusing before we took on Brock, and Murtops was created. He also has the ability for Super Luck, which increases his critical hit chance. This will come into play later, just trust me.
That's a surprise tool that can help us later.
What's really cool about the gyms, and since the game is based around fusions, when you go up against the gym leaders and trainers, at least one of their Pokemon types match the typing for the gym, even when it's randomized. So being a rock type gym, at least half of all the fusions are going to be a rock type. Now, that does leave for a variety of combinations. You might get rock fairy, rock fire, rock water, etc. But at least you're going to be able to plan somewhat accordingly, which is nice, especially when randomized, and especially if you want to do a Nuzlocke. The next change that I absolutely love with this game is that you can only bring the amount of Pokemon that the gym leader has. So with Brock having 2 Pokemon, I can only bring 2 with me to battle him. It really gives an extra bit of a challenge that normally wouldn't be there. His Ferroron didn't stand a chance, so I sent out Mabull to take on his Cabo Ring. And even though Mabull destroyed his Pokemon, the Cabo Ring was a really cool design. Now, I want to highlight this just to show how involved and how absolutely incredible this mod and its fan base are. I took a break for lunch before I started recording the second part of the video. I was gone for maybe 20-30 minutes, and when I came back, there was an update for the game's sprite pack. There was new sprites that just happened to be added to the game in the 20 to 30 minutes that I was eating lunch. Literally the first time I've ever played this mod. It was a really cool experience to see that it's still being supported to that level. And that's not the last time this happened during my playthrough. I sold a bunch of the items that I got, including the Seadra fins, which gave me a pretty penny. I loaded up on balls and take a wild guess at what I decided to go do. I started getting all of the items for side quests, the tiny mushrooms, the Pikachu hat, the whole shebang. And as I was running around, I ran into another Pokemon, the Seedon, and now my focus changed instantly. I needed this Pokemon, and I know that we have said that 3 times already, but this one needed to happen. Not for that specific fusion, of course, but for Groudon fusions. We needed that Seedon. What's crazy is I caught it after only 12 Pokeballs. Our glorious continent goldfish Pokemon was caught, but you thought we were done?
I'm not fucking leaving.
The La'ai was still lurking, and I had plenty of balls left, but we failed. Get the ball, you dumb!
Stay in the ball.
You We found another one, used the rest of the balls, and had to give up for the second time, or in this case, like the 5th or 6th. Do you see this Shelligator? Seedon I infused right away, and then fused the Groudon with the Phantump, which had this incredible fusion. But I had to see the inverse, because in this game, every fusion has 2 versions if you don't count all of those additional sprite options. We swapped it to the inverse, and this design was incredible. Groudon, our new stump continent Pokemon, was part of the team. From here, I couldn't help but fall down the fusion rabbit hole, which happens a lot in this game. Say hello to Seachoke.
Let's go!
Yeah,
dude! Seachoke!
Look at that.
He just
Pain and
Seachoking
suffering
it.
created that.
Dude.
Superpower goldfish.
Bro, he's 4 feet tall.
4 feet tall, 120 pounds. He weighs 120 pounds.
Oh my god.
I gave the Pikachu hat to Ash's Pikachu, which unlocked the ability to put hats on freaking Pokemon. So definitely don't sleep on this side quest. We instantly put a hat on Groudon and Seachoke. Now here, the game wanted us to learn about hidden abilities. So of course I went into the grass and, well, this happened. It's like it was destiny. It's like this was meant to be. We had to catch the La'ai, and by some miracle,
I feel like we have to keep at least 5 balls.
Shut up.
Oh my god! What the?
We did it.
It's done.
Finally! We have defeated the lie!
yes! Countless balls thrown, probably a solid hour and a half dedicated just to catching this La'ai. But it was finally mine. I unfused them both right away, kept the Latios in the party, and decided to wait and see what we got. This Polyrona is insane looking. I just felt you needed to see this. Also, the Beefeon was so adorable, one of our channel artists just couldn't help herself but draw it. Now, after fighting our way to Mount Moon, this is where I find even more changes to the game. Brock shows up to help with Pokemon injuries, which was a really cool addition. Also, the Magikarp you can buy, well, for me, it was a Poopy fan.
Poopy fan.
Wait.
Poopy fan.
Wait.
They're giving Pokemon
It's random. Wait, what's
okay,
a
what did you
poopy
just say?
fan?
Oh, it's a Pupitar and
Oh
a
my
dolphin.
god!
What?
Pupa fan. I don't like it.
We messed around with more fusions, turning this poopy fan into a poopy Teos, and after going into Mount Moon, this is kind of where we broke the game, sort of. We planned on doing a playthrough, but we also planned on doing some videos where we just fused some stuff. Because of this, we had debug mode on, and without knowing, since we set it up weeks before we recorded this, and since none of us had actually played the game before, we didn't really know what was different and what wasn't. We kind of just thought we could punch rocks.
Oh,
Stupid you.
never mind. You could just use rock smash.
I punched it.
Wow.
Damn, bro.
it.
You got some really strong hands.
Little did I know, this broke the game a little bit when I progressed without getting the rock smash from Brock, but again, we'll get into that a little bit later. This little shit had a team of legendary fusions. We found out what happened to baby Chuck E. Cheese when he was abandoned when the company went corporate, and Mr. Ito will haunt our dreams for the next century. We also found out that the single best fusion design in probably the entire game, a sprite made by Bagel Boy for a fusion between a Don fan and a Probopass.
Hey, Georgie, wanna play?
We made it towards the end of the cave and finally got to find out what Team Rocket was up to. They were trying to succeed at fusing 3 Pokemon at once. That was Giovanni's ultimate goal. They had the scientist battle me and he whipped out a Nocto, which my team destroyed. But then from there, their attempt to triple fusion, well, it failed. They packed everything up and escaped. The scientist gave me a fossil, as you'd expect, just like any game, and it was not even a fossil. It was a spell tag. I was robbed. Finally, out of the cave, I found a scope lens, which increases critical hit ratio. Remember, Murtops already had boosted crit hit ratio. Things start to get a little nutty from here. With us in Cerulean City, I picked up more side quests and found out the Team Rocket had an actual hideout here, instead of just one person behind a house.
What are you doing?
Nothing. Me? Just hanging around.
With Murtops souped up, I headed north and we hit 3 crits in a row with 2 boosted crit hit ratios plus Slash, which also boosts crit ratio. Murtops became an absolute killing machine. That alongside the rest of my team, Billy Blue Balls didn't stand a chance. I found my way up Nugget Bridge after the battle, as you do in every Gen 1 game, fighting some crazy Pokemon. And I'm specifically talking about this thing. This is the crazy Pokemon. Now, interestingly enough, what changes here on Nugget Bridge in Pokemon Infinite Fusion is when Team Rocket asks you if you want to join, you actually can. You are given a Team Rocket uniform and are told about Captain Petrol. From here, we found out we could surf, and since our character just whipped out a surfboard, kind of just assumed it was built into the game like the rock smashing. So we went into Mewtwo's cave and this happened.
Last netball.
Yeah, oh, wait, was that a crit?
No way.
What?
Whoa! It was a crit! Are you kidding me?
What?
Holy shit.
That's right. I crit caught a level 56 Turdisk and none of us could believe it. We unfused them right away, which left a level 42 Turtwig. So say hello to Latwig. He's adorable. Not long after that, we found out we could move boulders as well. This Entei is something else, man. And finally, this Zapple, I wanted it so freaking bad. I didn't catch him though. But next was probably the most cursed Pokemon fusion I think I've seen this entire run, and I am not kidding.
I'm only,
Go, my
I'm only
Latwig.
doing this because I need to see this evolution.
Oh my God.
That's not okay.
That might be the most cursed thing we've seen so far.
It's all Magikarp tails.
A Manx was the Pokemon we saw next, and this was pretty much the point where we decided we needed to fuse every Pokemon with Jinx. So whenever you finish this video, be sure to check out that one next. Also, why does the Quilizard have big old DSLs, dude? Bill is fusing himself with Pokemon as expected. We found the Squirtle squad and put their sunglasses on our Latwig, then surfed north and fought a level 34 Quinninja. Then the trainer brought out a level 34 Palketta, which was crazy looking and also obliterated my team. It was close though. From here, we took on the Cerulean City gym. One of the trainers had a Lair Lord, which was a fantastic fusion, and I took down Misty in her Execustar and Remota, which looks like it was pulled straight out of Stranger Things. Murtops continues to be a killing machine. We tried Wonder Trading and were given this Sluggy and Vodka. Yeah, this Pokemon's name is apparently Vodka. And we finally tried the wallpaper lottery, which is a really cool addition to the game as well, which you can get with tickets given to you by defeating gym leaders. From here, I stocked up on Fusion Balls and Great Balls and headed north of Cerulean City, determined to catch the Zapple, and I cleared out all of the other trainers that were south of Cerulean City as well. Now, at this point, I had transferred the save file from our office PC to my home PC so I could chip away at the game at home, but something was wrong. Some of my sprites weren't the right sprites, and I could no longer break rocks since, like I said earlier, we had debug mode on without knowing it. And since that broke the game and prevented me from getting Rock Smash, we had to just play and have fun with it. I took down all of the trainers on my way to Vermilion City, snagged the old rod and the Hoenn outfits as well. Basically, in every new town, there's a trainer from a different Pokemon region, and if you show them a Pokemon from that specific region, they give you the outfits and hairstyles for that generation's Pokemon game. This game has it all. Even the Pokemon fan club in Vermilion City still exists, but they are purebred snobs who only believe in purebred Pokemon, which is as dumb as it sounds. It's a pretty cool addition because in a world like this, of course, there would be some people who would feel that way. I swung by the hotel, picked up the new side quests, tested some fusions, and headed to the SS Hand. It was basically what you'd expect. Very similar to the original games. You go cabin to cabin, fighting trainers, collecting items, but the side quests is what really made the SS Hand shine here. I had to sprint from the ship back to the hotel in under 30 seconds to deliver crabby legs to this guy, which feels kind of wrong, but he did teach Murtop's Crab Hammer, which lands critical hits more easily, so you know it was worth it to turn Murtop's into even more of a monster than he already is. I'm sorry, Krabby. And then after making my way back to the ship and the kitchen, there was another side quest where a Swirlix stole the dessert, so I was able to dress up as a waiter and deliver a bunch of meals to the passengers to help. I even met the scientist from Mount Moon and got to have a rematch where I beat his ass for a second time. I got a maid outfit and absolutely nailed all of the meals. Maybe I should have been a waiter instead of a YouTuber. I didn't know if anything was ever going to replace the dress, but here we are. I was given $12,000 and a Pokemon as a reward. I cleared out the rest of the trainers of the SS Hand, found one of the worst and most broken fusions in the entire game, one of the most cursed fusions of the entire game, Pompion. Holy shit. This dude, it really is Eevee from the upside down. Took down Billy Blue Balls, rubbed the old man's back, which honestly, based on my outfit, seems pretty fitting. Finally, now that I actually had the HM for cut, it was time to take on the Vermilion City gym and their gym leader, Lieutenant Surge. There was some weird Pokemon here, let me tell you. Piduo, Pikagast, Flaterra, but none of them stood a chance against Groudon. Also, apparently the Thunder Badge is American made, and that means your Pokemon speed increases. I'm pretty sure this isn't something that happens in the original games, but it's a pretty cool concept to see an across-the-board stat increase just for collecting the gym badges. When leaving the gym, I was given HM07 teleport and told that the fossil machine in Pewter City was finally back on. So in this game, you're given the option to teleport way sooner than you would normally receive fly. I headed back to Pewter City to see if I could get Rock Smash from Brock and fix my game, but he was no longer at the entrance to Mount Moon. But regardless, it was worth the trip to discover the Trap Lord. And that same trainer had a Corperior, which was, I mean, just look at this guy. I got a sleep mask for staying at the hotel and put it over my box. Activated the fossil I had, which was a Geoaldo. Oh my god, what the f would that turn into if he evolves? I fused a few more Pokemon until I got Ivy Wrath and challenged the type expert Pedro. He had a Shoe Dude and a Sandlith, which I took down pretty easy. His Trap Sect one-shot Groudon, and with only Zapple left and underleveled, it was up to him. He took down the Trap Sect, but my bone was too powerful. He destroyed me with his cuteness, so I moved on. I also found this incredible fusion, Magiexisses, I think I said that right, which I sadly couldn't catch. This Hanbi got a little sword. Zodile is bald. This Pseudosaur was pretty cool though, I'm not gonna lie. Also, Zapple evolved, and I'm kinda pissed about it. I did manage to find out how to get into the Cerulean City Team Rocket base. I had to put on the Team Rocket outfit and the hat. You need both of them, one or the other doesn't work. I was able to put the hat over the box though, so, you know.
Some are saying that you're bipolar.
I'm bi-winning.
After getting inside, a Team Rocket grunt quit, and Petrel made me take care of this swarm of Siamese. Petrel asked for my name, I lied, told him my name was... Dumbass!
dumbass!
And he liked my dumbass so much, he sent me on another mission to harass some fishermen. And at this point, I was honestly just so fascinated by the fact that I could be a part of Team Rocket. I just couldn't help myself but continue down this path. I beat the 2 fishermen in a battle, even though they had 2 legendary fusions. Petrol gave me $8,000 and hooked me up with another mission. This time, he gave me an Azubat and told me to go purposely make it faint. And now this is where I started to feel a little weird about these requests, but I just had to know what happened if I followed this specific storyline. So I let the Azubat faint. I then headed back to Petrol for my reward, which was $4,000. It was now finally time for Grand Theft Pokemon. Petrol wanted to work with me to steal this poor little girl's Pokemon. This mission, I won't lie, was a bit of a pain. It was a cool concept, but you had to wear the exact same clothes and the exact same haircut in order to trick the Pokemon. And this took me a while because there's no real way to know exactly what the haircut was supposed to be. I just had to guess and try like 6 haircuts until I got the right one. The girl found us out, the cops showed up and arrested Petrol, but before that happened, he told me to go to Celadon City and find Archer. On my way through the dark cave, I found a Milmery, Doran, Elenix, Execute. Bro, it's an Execute. Oh my God. Can I just say, remove the extra heads from the ass, and this is gas. Haunch Magius, Voltilax, Infercelia, Metafurig,
Asbestos?
and this extra little side cave with the Zelda reference. And I think this might be my favorite parts about this game is these small little additions they add to really flesh out the world and locations and make it feel different. They don't ever seem to take anything away and only add, and the additions so far have been fantastic. I continued through the cave until I made it to the other side and finally to Lavender Town. I spent the next 15 minutes fusing, and between Gabrion, Armthur, and Sabaldos, I think our team is starting to really come together. Minus Zabble's evolution. I'm still mad about that, but it's the weird middle stepchild, so, you know, I gotta stay optimistic here. And now it was time to finally head to Celadon City, and oh baby, was it worth it. Say hello to my new Pokemon fusion, Lux Ram. Once I got to Celadon City, I stopped by the hotel to collect the new side quest and completed one and was given Super Splicers. They say it should result in a higher leveled fusion than regular Splicers, but to be honest, I never really noticed any significant difference here. I did, however, notice that when I used them, the fused Pokemon would usually have a different ability, which can definitely come in handy if you don't have one you like. I found this battle cafe as well, which was filled with trainers, and one of them was that super nerd Miguel from Mount Moon. So he yet again challenged me to a third rematch, and well, Murtops punched his teeth in. You really gotta stop Miguel. It's getting embarrassing, frankly. I found the casino, gambled for a bit, played a little Voltorb flip. Okay, maybe a lot of Voltorb flip. And from here was our major first change. There seemingly wasn't a secret button under the poster of the casino. I also went to get the free Eevee, and they actually had the trainer show up and choose to give me the Eevee after completing a side quest of taking it for a walk. I mean, this poor Eevee is left alone because its trainer is never free. So they asked if I could take the Eevee to give it a better life. And again, I just love this small addition. They could have kept it the same, but it was a fun little addition that honestly makes way more sense than just stealing a random person's Pokemon off a table. Sadly for me, because of the randomizer, it wasn't an Eevee and instead was a Rhyodon, which I'm pretty sure I never use. God damn, look at those lips. They also had this Starby. I went back to Lavender Town, beat up Billy Blue Balls and his team of Licorona, Duskasparse, Marshtala, and Jump Crow. After our battle, we overhear Team Rocket yelling about Silph Co, Master Balls, and they end up kidnapping this old man. From here, Billy Blue Balls lets me know we would need a Silph Scope to help, and since he saw a bunch of Team Rocket and Celadon, that we should both go and investigate. So that's what I did. I teleported back, snagged the HM Fly, and found Billy Blue Balls fighting the Team Rocket grunts. They ran off and he took off to go look for them, and from here, Erica, the Celadon City gym leader, overheard the commotion from the battle and came to see what was going on. Another fantastic change. I filled her in, and me and her headed into the sewers to deal with Team Rocket together. Now, this was awesome when it came to double battles, but when it came to trying to catch a Pokemon that I wanted, it was a freaking nightmare. I couldn't stop her from killing them, so I had to just start launching balls and hoping for the best. I did eventually manage to catch that Hopsapod. The Necrophy, however, I just couldn't manage to catch it, unfortunately. And this sewer tower was a really cool maze as well. There was ways to knock the boards down into the water. You could even raise and lower the water, which would raise and lower the boards, allowing you to access different areas. I'm actually pretty confident after we flooded one of the areas, we probably killed a few of those Team Rocket grunts, at least the ones that couldn't swim or didn't have water type Pokemon.
Somebody help! My fur's getting wet!
And I also found some tequila. So apparently there's alcohol in this mod as well. Now name me a better duo of Pokemon fusions. I'll wait. After battling through all the Team Rocket grunts, we found their secret entrance, but there was 2 rooms. So me and Erica decided to split up. And after being forced to see this disgusting creature, it's only fair to show you two. Needless to say, I blasted through this area until I caught up to Erica, but sadly, she lost her battle to Giovanni. So it was my turn to take him on. He had this sick Palo Rock and this cursed Pit Ogre, but he wasn't anything special. And after beating him, Latwig evolved into Lattle. Yet another disappointment. After Giovanni fled in disappointment after being destroyed by a child, Erica told me to come challenge her, but before I do that, it's time to continue my double agent operation. Dumbass is back, and I found Archer. He gave me 20 Rocket Balls and sent me on a mission to catch a bunch of Pokemon above level 20 for the rest of the grunts. I did what he asked, but still asked for more Rocket Balls so I could have extra, and he gave me 10 more. He handed out the Pokemon and sent me the other grunts on a mission to intercept a shipment of TMs at the underground path. We succeeded. I took the stolen TMs and gave the counterfeit TMs to the department store rep. Probably got the poor guy fired, but I did make $10,000 and I got to pick a TM, so it was worth it for him to lose his job. From here, Archer sent me to give some fake information to a Pokemon collector, who I'm pretty sure was Yucine, the guy obsessed with Suicune from my Soul Silver Nuzlocke. I gave him some information that was kind of right, and he liked it. So he gave me the rare Pokemon, and Yucine headed off. I was then told to head to the back store of the Celadon City Cafe, but only at night and to make sure that I'm wearing my uniform when I show up. And like my name, I was questioned by the cops. I lied to him, obviously, but crazy that he didn't arrest me since I was literally wearing the Team Rocket outfit and everything. I guess in the Pokemon universe, you can dress as a terrorist and they're just cool with it. They let me keep the Pokemon because it was too risky to take it with the cops involved and sent me away. I then headed back to the underground Team Rocket base, found out Archer sent me on purpose due to the opportunity that I might get caught. So thanks, Archer. He said he was happy that I managed to do better and not get arrested, blah, 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 blah. I handled the situation so well. Yeah, suck my asshole. From here, since I didn't get arrested, I decided to reward myself with some fusions. Poritress, Altasopod, and a few more. Finally, it was time for a chance at a mythical Pokemon. But before we had a chance to get the information, the cops raided the Team Rocket base. Lucky for me, the cops in this world are dumb, and I was able to escape. So I took on Erica's gym and took her down pretty easily. She had a Victory Lax, Cargius that didn't even fit on the screen for some reason, and this cursed Mime Laden, but they were no match for my team. Not really shocking though, since she failed to beat Giovanni and I was able to take him down pretty easily and was given the Silph Scope as a prize for defeating him. I tested out some fusions with some sick designs like Creshram, Torsopod, and Altarion. I tried to cross the Saffron City but was jumped by a Team Rocket grunt who recognized me, and he had a Deoxys, which is one of the coolest Deoxys fusions I've seen in the game by far. But I still beat his ass even though he was stronger than me. When I got to Saffron City, I took on the bonus fighting gym and they had quite a few Pokemon that were stronger than mine, but luckily Murtops just can't be beaten. His crit game is too strong, and holy shit do you see this Venuchoke. So with the Silph Scope finally in hand, it was time to head back to Lavender Town to take on the Pokemon Tower. It was defended by what I can only assume are creepy zombie grannies, and they had some pretty crazy Pokemon. Pokemon like Lapitar, which kicked my ass and caused me to fuse one of my best Pokemon's fusions so far this playthrough. Say hello to Murther, who still has Super Luck, so RIP Murtops, but Murther has your high crit ratio ability and has 2 additional fusions and already looks incredible. So I had to make him a part of the team. And I was right, because Murther took down the Lapitar. It was close, but he came out on top. After taking down the Lapitar, I fought a Drifilsma, Gasmander, Gordos, which seems to be a trend. I don't know why, but the Gorgai's Pokemon fusions always seem to be so big they don't fit on the screen. I eventually made it to the top of the Pokemon Tower, where I found a side quest called Mysterious Prisms, and Mr. Fuji gave me his Pokeflute and told me that Team Rocket came looking for the Master Ball blueprint, overpowered him, and managed to take it. Before leaving Lavender Town, I decided to fuse some of the Pokemon I caught: Rashidos, his reverse Gyararam, Restos, and this derpy and Gabrum. I flew back to Saffron City to take care of Team Rocket, where I found out that my white Team Rocket uniform is just cosmetic and it doesn't let me blend in as a Team Rocket, sadly. But even though my outfit wasn't enough and I had to fight my way through Silph Co to reach Giovanni, not long after, Merthyr evolved into the Giga Chad Merzor, leaving him with only one more evolution. Team Rocket stood no chance against my current team. I mean, we have Merzor, Altarian, Grautump, Torsopod, Gabrum, Krestos. I mean, my team took them all down, even the derpy and the cool ones like Garnet, Cherryard, Kyogre, Regidon, Waboxerus, Bono. I'll let you all decide which ones are the cool ones. And after fighting through all these grunts, when I finally made it to Giovanni, Billy Blue Balls pops out of nowhere, challenged me and his Pokemon. Well, they didn't really stand a chance. Kind of. I mean, even his Inferaligator fell pretty easily, but what I could have never prepared for was his ace, his champion, the strongest creature he's had this entire playthrough. It was his Butter Furno. Seriously, this Pokemon polished off the last of my team, and with Krestos as my last Pokemon, 20 levels under his Butter Furno, I thought this was the end. But by some miracle, Krestos survived the attack and managed to come out victorious. Billy Blue Balls was defeated, and we finally get to experience one of my favorite changes of this entire game from Gen 1. Your rival joins you to try and take down Giovanni in a double battle, and they made sure to make this a difficult fight. Giovanni is extremely high level, and with him supposed to be the leader of Team Rocket, it makes sense. He should be strong, and his team took down Merzor with one hit. Billy Blue Ball's Scrader took down the P-Wag, and that Bantula that took its place destroyed my Torsopod. The Triple B's Scrader took down the Nineran, and the Bantula took down my Grautump. This was a bloodbath at this point. Without Blue Balls, I would have been 0-3. Giovanni's Bantula and Lamcoon took down the Scrader, leaving my Gabrum alive. I was able to weaken the Lamcoon, but Inferaligator is what took down the Bantula, and you'll never guess what happened next. The Lamcoon one-shot my Gabrum. I'm not even kidding. Every single one of my Pokemon at this point has been one shot, and all I have left are Altarion and Krestos, which are more than 20 levels under-leveled for this fight. And shocking literally no one, Altarion fell next. Finally, it was up to Krestos yet again. So I just started spamming double team, but it didn't matter. Krestos fell. But because Billy Blue Balls still had Inferaligator in the fight, it continued, and I hate to admit it, but Triple B saved me. I would have lost this fight without him. Even though I managed to defeat him at every single turn, his team was just better suited against Giovanni's than my own. It was hard to swallow, but it was motivation I needed to get my shit together. From here, the Silph Co CEO gives me a rare Pokemon, which of course, because the randomizer isn't what it says it is, but I got a Pupitler. He then sends me down below to get the Master Ball from the scientists, and this is where the randomizer finally hit me, and it really hit me hard. The Master Ball wasn't a Master Ball. It wasn't even anything good. It was a freaking stone plate. Oh my god, here we go. And it's not a Master Ball. Feeling pretty defeated from my loss, but also the lack of Master Ball, I set out to take on the Saffron City gym leader, Sabrina. Her Mime Mortor, Hypno, yet for some reason it's just called Hypno, Blissra, and Cresma didn't stand a chance against Merzor. The 6th gym badge was mine, and I got these cool floating Pokeballs as a hat, which was an awesome hat, let's be honest. It also went really well with my box, which is a plus. I also found this Team Rocket grunt selling a Mankey Paw for $20,000 that apparently guarantees critical hits, which would have been awesome, but I just couldn't afford it at the moment. Next, I found a train station to Goldenrod City, which absolutely blew my mind. We'll get into that a bit later as well. And then I kicked the crap out of Miguel for the 4th time. Snuck into a bar, which wasn't as cool as I expected it to be. And after finding that tequila in the sewers of Celadon City, I kind of assumed I'd be able to buy alcohol in the bar, but I guess not. I also got to visit Petrol in prison, found this creepy TV which caused the on-rem to jump out. I don't know what this is supposed to be during a non-randomized playthrough, but it seems it's a one chance type Pokemon, so maybe a legendary or a mythical. I accidentally killed it though, so I don't know if you get anything if you do catch it, but once the fight was over, the TV was broken and I couldn't get it to do anything again. And finally, I left Saffron City and headed to the bike path to the left of Celadon. And while on the bike path, I found one of the greatest fusions that I will probably ever find in this game, and I am not kidding. Say hello to the Ho King. Oh my god, we have found the Ho King. This is the greatest thing I have ever seen in this game so far. Sadly, it wasn't a Pokemon I could catch, so I took on Koga's gym, which had one cool Pokemon, Arlosian. I'm not kidding, that was it. There was nothing else worth mentioning, and that includes Koga's Pokemon. But luckily for me, Growlithe evolved into a disappointment, but was saved by this awesome sprite design. After a pretty disappointing gym, I picked up the side quest from the hotel and spent the next hour in the Safari Zone. I found a Mewtwo fusion, Galtu, which I spent a lot of that time catching so I could fuse a ton of Mewtwo's, but that wasn't all I caught. Porelade, Sneefox, Flaffeon, Magrock, and even 2 of these absolutely adorable Pika Ice, which are a static encounter, so they go away after you catch them. I could only get 2 of them. I got the HM Surf, fused a bunch of the Mewtwo's I found inside the Safari Zone, like this Regitu, and I found the legendary Volcarona inside this secret cave area inside the Safari Zone, which was really hard to get to without running the clock down and getting kicked out. It took quite a few attempts before I made it to the end of the maze. And after all that work, the Volcarona wasn't even a Volcarona at all. It was a Manleaf, and more specifically, a Manleaf that ran away from me after 1 goddamn ball. After I was satisfied with my Safari Zone haul, I fused a Growlithe, a Latios with a Latias, which just turned into a JoJo's character, a Mewtwo and a Mewtwo, which was also a JoJo's reference somehow, a Latwu, a Jintu, followed by a Munx and a Luxtu. I just could not stop fusing these Mewtwo, so definitely tell me in the comments below if you'd like to see a video where we just fuse Mewtwo with a bunch of Pokemon, like the Jinx fusion video that's already on the channel. I headed towards Cinnabar Island and fought against some crazy looking Pokemon, and after reaching the island, I was shocked at how beautifully redesigned it was. It is easily my favorite rendition of Cinnabar Island in a Pokemon game to date. Definitely another win for Pokemon Infinite Fusion. I picked up the Alola outfits, which I thought was pretty fitting since, you know, this is an island. I found an Absol, which turned out to be a young Corio, so no Absol for me, I guess. I gave my old Amber to the scientist on the island, and it transformed into a Chartoise. My Claw Fossil transformed into an Ivy Star, and my Sail Fossil turned into a Bulbanium. I'm seeing a theme here with my fossils, but this is where things got crazy. Team Rocket stole a boat and headed towards Mount Ember, which is located in the Sevi Islands south of Cinnabar. So I hopped onto my Crestos and headed south to this watery maze, and more specifically, an entirely new location that is not normally in Kanto as far as I know. It took a lot of trial and error, but I finally managed to make it to Kindle Road. So I headed up the stairs and into the mountain, fought Team Rocket Grunt after Team Rocket Grunt, and they did not stand a chance against my new team. But this Umbluer and Waboxerus, they were pretty cool. I also caught a Magius. Magius? I think I said that right. I don't know. Which was an awesome design on its own, but also had a Megamine-based sprite from Konosuba. And finally, when I made it to the end of the cave, there was Team Rocket surrounding a Moltres and talking about the fact they have already managed to catch the other 2 legendary birds, Articuno and Zapdos. And with the Master Ball in hand, it was up to me to stop them. I took on every single grunt that stood in my way. I even beat down my old boss, Archer, who finally found out I was undercover the entire time. He was not happy. He also had this Raymer. Look at this adorable little guy. But defeating him and the rest of the grunts, it just didn't matter. I was too late. Team Rocket had succeeded in catching all 3 legendary birds and fused them together to create the legendary Zapmalcuno, a 3 health bar boss fight and probably one of the coolest boss fights I've experienced in a Pokemon game. The Zapmalcuno one-shot Murzor, but Laddie Bros managed to take down the middle health bar. Unfortunately, Laddie Bros would fall not long after. Growlithe was next to fall, and things started to seem bleak. All of my Pokemon were underleveled for this fight, and they kept getting destroyed. And Reggie too, he was no exception, but he luckily did do some serious damage before he died. Crestos fell next. I sent out Torso Pod and started to heal Murzor in hopes that maybe he could finish the job since he was my highest level and strongest Pokemon. He took down the second health bar, leveled up, and survived the Thunder Blast, but the passive heal ability on Zapmalcuno, it healed the entire last health bar. I healed Growlithe and used my last revive on Murzor Murzor and started doing my best to try and whittle down the Zap Malkuno's final health bar as best as I could, but things were not looking good. Grau2 managed to weaken the bird to about half health before he fell, and with Murzor left, no revives, he managed to hit 2 crits and finished the Zap Malkuno with only 16 HP left. I could not believe it. Giovanni was defeated, and with that defeat, the unstable triple fusion broke. The Zap Malkuno was no more. Articuno and Zapdos fled, Team Rocket was out of Master Balls, Giovanni abandoned Team Rocket, and I was left alone with Moltres. Except yet again, it wasn't a Moltres, it was a Dianatine, and it killed Murzor before I could catch it. So from here, back on Cinnabar Island, I decided to just press on with the rest of the island with intent to go back to the Dianatine when I was done. I entered the abandoned mansion, saw an Aegimander, Mabak, a Salvin Pardos, and I got this Ditto mask before finding Blaine and telling him I wanted to challenge his gym. He went back and I blasted through his trainers, and when I finally reached him, I destroyed him too. His Rapitar didn't stand a chance. The Quioar, oh, it was cursed, but also dead. This hideous creature, it somehow killed Murzor. But Laddie Bros made light work of it, thank God. And finally, his Arterion, which was probably his coolest Pokemon, it did take down Laddie Bros, but Reggie 2 stood strong and won it for the team. Gym Badge 7 was finally mine. But this is where I managed to get a tad bit confused. I headed to Vermilion City, but Giovanni wasn't at his gym. I figured this must have had to do with me not finishing off Moltres or not exiting the cave or something, and yeah, it was that. When I finally made it back to Kindle Road, Billy Blueball showed up with what I can only assume was the owner of the Sea Gallop boat based on context clues, but who actually knows, because for me, they were just invisible or somewhere else on the map. My best guess is that after catching or defeating Moltres, or in my case, Dianatine, you would leave the mountain, and that's where you would run into Billy Blueballs and whoever this mystery person is. So I think by me entering Kindle Road, it activated the cutscene, but they were by the mountain door and not by the boat, whatever. I was given the Sea Gallop pass and can now go to and from Cinnabar to the Sevi Islands. So I decided to go to the Sevi Islands, where I found the Triple Battle Lounge, which had a bunch of triple battles you could engage with, which got you some heart scales, and when I eventually made it back to Dianatine, I killed it. I just couldn't catch it. It would not stay in the ball. Luckily for me, since it technically wasn't a Moltres because of the randomizer, I can still find one at some point, so that's cool. But now it was finally time to take on Giovanni and the Vermilion City gym, and the trainers here were easy. I didn't really have any issues, but Giovanni, he was a bit harder. His Fanron didn't stand a chance against Murzor. His Sandacarp had to be taken out by Laddie Bros after it killed Murzor and Grau2. His Sabblebite, it hurt Laddie Bros pretty bad, but they prevailed. Sadly, they were too weak to withstand the attack from Sandq, but Reggie 2 beat it pretty easy. His Sun Queen was next, and although it did some serious damage to Reggie 2, he won. It was a really close fight, but we managed to come out on top, and with the Vermilion City gym badge in hand, all 8 badges have been collected. It's finally time to head to the Elite Four, but not before fighting Billy Blueballs again. He had an Amelas, Goletta, Wynia, and Sancorio, which Murzor easily defeated. His Jump Crow and Lairdum was taken down by Reggie 2, so it wasn't nearly as close as a fight with Giovanni, which made me feel better going into the Elite Four. I finally headed towards Victory Road and yet again found a completely revamped area, which was just incredible. Multiple different routes to take, strong trainers with crazy Pokemon labs where they study the caves because of the strong Pokemon within the location. It's just such a nice touch. It's such a cool addition that just really fleshes out the area and the world, and it makes sense. If this is a location that is overrun by really powerful Pokemon, why would the labs not be studying them? Now, lucky for me, I was making my way through the area. I managed to catch a Ramkuno, which means I have 2/3 of the 3 legendary birds, Zapdos and Articuno. I would now just need to find a Moltres. Also, what the is this thing? I finally made it to the entrance of Victory Road and found the entrance to Mount Silver, which I'm not allowed to access yet. Golisopod was probably the coolest Pokemon I encountered inside Victory Road, or so I thought. That's right, I found a Crotrace, the final missing legendary bird I would eventually need, or at least I assume I will eventually need. But at the very least, I now have all 3 of these legendary Pokemon for fusion options, and this specific fusion is awesome. After catching the Crotrace, I made my way through the cave, finally arrived at the entrance to the Indigo Plateau, and from here I spent the next hour or so just fusing Pokemon, trying to figure out who my team should be before finally taking on the Elite Four. Mewgross, Metadon, Dub 2, Mugrigus, Mizard, Altatrace, Crochamp, Mutrace. Seriously, we would be here all day. There was so many incredible fusions. I could have sat here for hours just trying different fusion options over and over and over. So now I'm just gonna rapid show a bunch of others I thought were cool and show off our team. And finally, after all that time fusing, my final team was Murzor, Laddie Bros, Reggie2, Metadon, Cherem, and Luxopod. I figured this gave us a decent amount of coverage, and I took on the Elite Four. First up was Loralee and her Ice-type fusions. She sent out a Scry Ice first, which Murzor slaughtered easily. Next up was the Reggie Ice, and Cherem wasn't enough because of the combination of Ice and Fairy typing. So Murzor came back out to finish the job. And let's just say that really didn't go so well. Reggie2, he finally finished the job. I lied to you again. Reggie2 was left with 1 HP and had to retreat. But for realsies this time, Luxopod took it down. We weren't going too well here, if you couldn't tell. Luxopod took down the Cabarunt easy enough. Metadon defeated Ryora, and finally, her Artiseer was defeated by Laddie Bros. I won, but it was really, really close. So I healed up and headed to take on Bruno. His core champ took down Murzor, but Laddie Bros avenged his fallen comrade. Bruno sent out Man Kid next, and it was no match for Laddie Bros. Smoochamp followed, took a pounding from the Laddie Bros, smacked them when they were looking and retreated. The Frog Loom that took her place didn't stand a chance, and this is where we learned you can't hide from the Laddie Bros forever. They will eventually find you and kill you, just like the Baytop that was next. Bruno was defeated, and that was a much easier battle than the one with Loralee. Agatha was up next, and Laddie Bros did its best against her Duskquill and Lava Lurk, but their teamwork was too much for them to handle. Cherem avenged Laddie by killing the Lava Lurk, took down the Garako next. The Duskquill was already weak from the fight with the Laddie Bros, but regardless, Luxopod took it down. Her Chandelitas against Reggie2 didn't really go as planned. Murzor almost died trying to finish the job. And finally, her Drift Buff, which, do I even need to say it? Do you see my Metadon? Agatha was defeated. Finally, I was standing in front of Lance and his Dragon-type fusions. His Golikia ran away after almost being killed by Reggie2. His Exorus unfortunately killed Reggie2. Cherem had a bit of a back and forth with Exorus, but eventually managed to take it down, so GG's. The Laddie Bro went up against his Jiangzi and, well, they died, but Murzor finished the job. His weakened Golikia was sent out next against my Metadon, and of course, Metadon won that fight. Metadon also beat his Sandbat, and although he almost killed the Gorksaurus, he fell before he managed to. Luxopod tried to avenge Metadon, but failed miserably, and finally, Murzor finished the job, avenging his fallen brother, and finally defeating Lance, making me the freaking champion. Or it would have if, oh, what am I saying? You all know there's obviously the final champion to face off against. Billy Blue Balls beat Lance first, so I had one final challenge. I healed with what I had left, which was not a lot. I had half a team, and I was stressing, and I didn't know if I'd be able to come out on top here. When I entered the champion room, I found Billy Blue Balls sitting on top a gigantic pile of Pokeballs. I had to literally climb over them to reach him. He told me he completed the Pokedex, every single fusion. He has them all, and he challenged me. He sent out a Gola Ogre first, which destroyed my Murzor, leaving me with only 2 more Pokemon. I sent out Laddie Bros, who took a beating, but won the battle. Honchkrill was next, and Cherem didn't really stand a chance. I healed Laddie Bros and let Cherem die because at this point, the Laddie Bros were pretty much my last chance, but it wasn't enough. They were defeated. I just wasn't strong enough. My Pokemon weren't high level enough. I didn't come in with enough heals, and I lost because of that. But I wasn't done. I leveled up my Pokemon a bit more, grabbed what few heals I could afford, and I decided to challenge them again. I had experienced this before, I had a plan, and that plan couldn't have been more wrong. The Elite Four's Pokemon change with every single battle, which was a really cool touch and made me kind of happy I lost the first time so that I could see this change and talk about it. But since they were different, my plan kind of went out the window. Now, I've spoken about it a bunch throughout this video, but Pokemon Infinite Fusion is a very special game. The amount of love and care poured poured into every single detail of this game is incredible. And with the new sprites for fusions being added pretty much every single day, there's always more content to explore. And even while challenging the Elite Four for the second time, I feel like I've barely scratched the surface. So I took on Loralee and her new team, and luckily for me, I took her down easily with no deaths this time. Bruno had some awesome Pokemon this round, a Tentizikin and a Blatchan to be specific. But as cool as they were, they didn't stand a chance, and I made it out with only one death. I healed up and took on Agatha, and one after the other, her Pokemon fell too. Lance also didn't stand a chance either, but his Venovern and Zekbat were pretty cool. Finally, I was before Billy Blue Balls yet again, and this time I had a full team. His Ratros fell to my Metadon easy. His Dunleary took down Reggie too after a heated battle, but Luxopod finished the job. Even though he did take a serious beating during the fight, his Jump Crow, as usual, didn't stand a chance against the Laddie Bros. His Drift Brantis was easily destroyed by Cherim. Laddie Bros finished off his Cursed Omato, and finally, Cherim defeated his final Pokemon, Gardetrace.
We win. We win.
Eat shit, you f***ing loser! Yes! Oh my god, yes! God, a Nuzlocke of this would be hell. I had won. I was finally the champion of Pokemon Infinite Fusion. The credits rolled and the game was over.
Or is it?
Spoilers? It's not. Like I said, the amount of love poured into this game is insane. This game is freaking huge, man. The entire Johto region is in this game. More of the Sevi Islands, 8 more gyms, more to the story, more side quests, a buttload of legendaries to catch. The Elite Four even get stronger, and you can battle them again for a rematch. And we also still have Mount Silver, and I'm sure there's a ton more that I'm not aware of. I just got this information here from a random Reddit post, for Christ's sake. I love this game, and I hope you enjoyed this video because it was so fun playing through my first ROM hack. And now I can honestly say I have more of an appreciation for these ROM hacks. Hell, it feels kind of dirty to even call them that because this game feels so much more than just a ROM hack, and I cannot recommend it enough. Let me know in the comment section below if you'd like to see more of this game, maybe a video showing off the post game. Subscribe for more Pokemon videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Maybe this one, where we fused nothing but Jinxes until we found one that you would want to bone. Thanks for watching. Later.